The vote to create the city ordinance banning open-air drug use was unanimous. Commissioner Rubio says in her support for the move that all Portlanders should feel safe in public safe spaces, and this will allow police to focus on the most dangerous drugs on Portland streets. Commissioner Rubio joins us now in the studio. Commissioner, thank you for joining Eye on Northwest Politics.
Thank you, Brandon. Happy to be here.
So let's say if state lawmakers do take up this change, what do you think will change on Portland streets?
Well, what it will enable us to do as a local municipality is to really enforce the use of this substances in public spaces on par with that that we currently do with cannabis and alcohol.
And we've spoken to some state lawmakers if they were to take up this issue. Some of them are skeptical. Here's what we've heard from them.
If we don't have enough places for people to go, it drives the use either intense with a butane lighter, it drives them into businesses. So I'm not saying it's not a piece of the solution, but oftentimes people want a simple solution to an extraordinarily complex problem.
So what would you say to state lawmakers who may be skeptical of this?
Well, I actually agree what this legislator is saying. And I also say that that's not a reason to not try something new. We're in new times where we're seeing the need for a recalibration of the statute, particularly because we have new drugs on the street. There are new substances. And so new times call for new ways of thinking about things and addressing collaboratively our problems. So while that is actually true, this is only one piece. It's the consistent addressing of these pieces collaboratively, and it's going to take multiple things all together into alignment for us to see the impact and for Portlanders to see the impact collectively.
So with the timeline of this potentially taking months for the state legislature to take up the issue, should there be something to move this and push this forward more quickly, an executive session or executive order or special session by the legislature?
Well, we have our best A-team of government relations folks on that right now, but what I will say is that we do need Portlanders to speak up and talk to their legislators about why this is important to do.
And another thing that we wanted to talk to you about here today is the city's effort to reform the permitting process. Now, it would establish a one single entity to look at the different permitting processes that are across 7 bureaus and establish one entity that will have the responsibility and accountability of the process and find the staff, technology, projects, and funding to improve the process. Now, Commissioner, one of the stated goals of this is to increase the housing supply, especially the affordable housing supply. How do you imagine that working?
So, as you know, we're in a housing crisis, and we're still in economic recovery post-pandemic, coming, out of it. And what we're needing right now is an all hands-on-deck approach. We just finished learning from a recent study done in Portland about the housing ecosystem that if we want to keep pace with the need for housing, we need to be producing 120,000 over the next 20 years. 120,000 units is a large number, and we simply are not optimized right now in our commission form of government to make sure that we are doing all we can at a systemic level to catalyze housing production. So that's at the root of this issue for me, is what could we be doing to optimize it so that when developers, when homeowners, when business owners who are just trying to move a fridge or a new refrigerator in their place of business, or add that additional bathroom to a growing family, or even a larger scale multifamily housing development project, that we are not slowed down because of an inefficient system, which is a design issue.
So 7 different bureaus have fingers in the pots to the permitting process. How do you start to untangle that web?
Well, it's a very long process to get that web tangled over many years. And if you look back over time, we've actually been trying to address and fix the issues and going around and doing these fixes to the issues for about 25 years. And there have been multiple attempts to really overhaul the process. But it wasn't until recently that we're really aligned around some key things that we need to do. And that's a centralized entity with one point of authority and that we have a collaboration across all bureaus around that focus.
And late last month, City Council passed a resolution unanimously to direct city staff to look at these changes. The resolution says that there is a, quote, lack of central leadership and organizational accountability in the process right now. How important are those, and how do you find somebody to, or one entity to be accountable for this?
They're critically important because especially when things matter, when we're under duress or in a crisis, as we are now with our housing production, it matters. You need that central point of authority to make the call. Sometimes that is critical to moving a project through or to resolving and untangling a conflict of two different codes and that govern two different sets of bureau policies, for example. You need that critical place. It's going to be the one authority to move the project through.
Commissioner Mapps has also been working on some permitting reforms when he was in the bureau, leading the bureaus that you led during the last city council. One thing that he looked at doing is deleting duplicate requirements. Is that something that you could see being a part of this reform?
And actually, it was Dan Ryan that had the bureaus that I had before, and Dan Ryan, Commissioner Ryan, and Commissioner Mapps together created the bureau and task, the permit improvement task force. Together. And so since that time, they have created a critical foundation, and this is just the next level action that needs to happen to make sure that this gets done. And code cleanup, code conflict, and looking at these policies more in depth are part of this plan and always have been. So that work is going to continue. It's very critical work, but we're actually expanding that work so that all things are happening concurrently.
And as we talk about revitalizing downtown, the conversation around converting buildings, office buildings into housing has been one of the main proponents of that. How can reforming the permitting process help that goal along?
Well, my hope is that we will have the ability to be more nimble, we'll have the ability to actually be more innovative because we will have a team that is working together and understanding the same set of rules and applying the codes in the same way and in the same direction with the same lens and with that same high mission of 120 units in the next 20 years. So I think that there will be plenty of opportunity in the new configuration for more innovation to happen.
Well, it's been said that there's a lot of bureaucracy around this process. There certainly are some codes and requirements that are there for a reason. How do you ensure that the reform doesn't go too far in allowing too loose of requirements?
Well, I think the real issue is that we just haven't had the capacity to even work together to take a look at them as a baseline. So starting there, I don't believe that things will get to the point where they're too loose. If anything, it will bring things more into alignment, and so that there's more clarity across the board for all bureaus that are involved. And at the root of this, it's really addressing a structural issue. So we can't we're not going to see the outcomes we want if we're just making workarounds consistently over the next 25 years again. We have to address the system at the root, and that means one authority in one entity.
Commissioner Rubio, thank you so much for joining us on
Thank you.
Iowa Northwest Politics today.
Thank you so much.
Coming up next.